First of all, I want to thank everybody who's been tuning in to Tales from the Jails. And listen, we need everybody to do something for us. If you really like what you see on Tales from the Jails, you're really interested in what you see on Tales from the Jails, we need you to go to YouTube at Tales from the Jails and become a member. Subscribe as well, but also become a member. That way you can get updated on all the new content as we continue to bring you these amazing episodes. So we want everyone to go to YouTube at Tales from the Jails and become a member.
As y'all heard him, go to YouTube at Tales from the Jails and become a member. We got an array of content that's coming out that you will be thoroughly entertained by. As you can see by the content that's previously been released, you're entertained by. It's only gonna get better. I'm telling you, there is only up to go. And we wanna thank y'all for rocking with us, man, and listening to the awareness that we're bringing about prison life. So go to where again, bro?
Go to YouTube at Tales from the Jails and become a member.
YouTube at Tales from the Jails, and please become a member.
I want to welcome everybody to another episode of Tales from the Jails. We here live in Providence, USA. TNS Media Group is the team and the family. I got my counterpart here with me, Braheem Jackson. As you know, we talk about what goes on behind the prison walls, but also we inform you, that, prison is not a great place to be. And there's a lot of, downside to being in prison. Not really much upside other than, you just on the top bunk. It's only upside is that top bunk.
The top bunk is probably better than bottom bunk anyway. You could work better from the top bunk. Bottom bunk, you really at a disadvantage, especially if you sleep.
Yeah.
So ask me and I'll let you know about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people get knocked out over the top and bottom bunk too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little,
If you ain't in there handling your business right, then and a dude come in your room and that's what he want, yeah, you definitely go to sleep about that bottom bunk.
All right, you heard it. But listen, we got a special guest today. Someone who knows all about the facility, the prison facility, in the county. I'm not sure about upstate, but knows about the county, the CFCF correctional facility, and the things that go on behind the wall, because she has been a real intricate part into the operation and, the structure of the facility. So we have a special guest today. Tell them who you are.
Hello, I'm Supreme, or Miss Harris, as most people will know me as.
Miss Harris, you heard it.
And a lot of the men gonna stand up right now. Men stand up, Miss Harris up in this jail.
Where I'm supposed to be looking at y'all the
all of them.
Oh,
like everything is good. You got all of them straight shots.
Okay.
Yeah, so we want to get your perspective. You said he's working. Or tell me where you worked at. Where was you working at?
Well, I worked just about every jail on state roll except for Pick.
How long you been working in the prison system?
I am no longer a CO. I actually quit last year, about a half a year ago, year and a half ago. But I was a correctional officer for about 3.5 years.
Wow, 3.5 years. So she's seen a lot of inmates come, a lot of inmates go, a lot of upstate buses, people going.
A lot of inmates come back, all that type of stuff. Yeah, they go, come back, go, come back, go, come back. This is a revolving door.
So let me ask you a question. So what prompted you to want to get involved in, to be a CO?
Well, originally when I took the job, they would help me pay for school. So if I took basically a major in criminal justice, I wanted to be a criminal defense attorney. So I thought that would give me the upper hand to help be able to pay for it and everything like that. But once I got into the system, essentially I was being harassed. So I couldn't focus. I couldn't, move to that next step, and I had to get out.
You're just being harassed by who?
White shirts. So the upper ups, all the way up to a deputy commissioner, actually.
Wow. So working as a CO, describe for me, if you could, like your first day. Like, was you nervous going into the prison system, or was it just like, how was it your first day going in there?
I would say my first day, I guess you can be nervous to a degree. They definitely try to fear-monger you. But I was pretty comfortable being as though this is like regular. These are the people I grew up with. These are the people that I see every day.
You was comfortable because you from North.
Yeah, I'm from North Philly. So I don't,
That's why you was comfortable. Yeah. North stand up in the building.
Shout out. But yeah, so it was regular to me. It's like just being at the bar or just being on a block. Like, it wasn't nothing different to me. Other than now, I can be viewed as the enemy. I would say that was probably the issue, because certain things, like I've never been in a space prior to becoming a CO. I was a bartender. I'm also a massage therapist. So when I come in contact with people, they happy to see me. But rather than coming in jail, I had to deal with, certain times, not for long, but in the beginning, being called out my name or being yelled at and disrespected. That was like new for me. But what I learned is just don't return that energy. You know what I mean? I treat you with respect and I demand the respect back. And that would be that. And once I got my, feet in and wet, I was good. I didn't have no complaints. I was probably the safest bitch on state road, if we being honest.
Oh, wow. So now dealing with all these inmates, dealing with all these different personalities coming into these type of facilities, describe for me, like, how someone can fall into the traps of getting too acquainted or being involved in things they shouldn't be involved in as a CO in the prison. Is that something that's like, something that happens a lot?
Absolutely. I would think that for the most part, money talk. So, and some people, you never know what their situation is at home. They willing to take certain risks. Now, what I haven't shared is I've actually been on the other side. I was in Browns over at George W. Hill with a gun charge. So I know what it's like to be on the other side. So that was just like, nah, I'm cool. Yeah, all right, keep pushing kind of thing. I would never risk my freedom again, you know what I mean? And so when I took the job, that was kind of like easy, but I have seen people get caught up. I actually knew the 2 officers that recently got locked up for something last year. Oh yeah,
I heard about that. How was that for you, seeing that, like your coworkers like being walked out and being charged, criminally charged?
It was a realization, because both of them worked in my motherfucking area and I was the one being accused of bringing in the drugs, and obviously it was them.
How does that work though? Like they have like meetings and say, listen, one of y'all in here is bringing this stuff in here. We gonna find out who it is. How does that work? The white shirts.
The jail was like high school. It's just rumor based. But for me, I was being harassed. Like in the matter of 3.5 years, I've been written up over 80 times. And out of those 80 write-ups, I've only lost 3. And so let me give you, like, when I get written up, I'm basically on trial as well. I'm the defendant. My union rep would be my lawyer. The lieutenant or the sergeant is the prosecutor. The warden is the judge. You feel me? So imagine going on trial 80 times in 3.5 years. Like, it was just very stressful. But in those 80 trials, I've only lost 3 times. And the 3 times that I lost, they basically gave me the highest, like, maximum suspension. So I have over, like, 60 days of suspension in my record, which has now made it hard for me to get hired other places with the city, or to even demote out. I was willing to take a $30,000 pay cut to get out of there. I've done other interviews with the city, everything. Nobody would take me, even though I'm scoring high on these lists. I'm more qualified than half of the people. It's just I couldn't get that chance because I fell on the wrong side of some white shirts.
Wow. And the white shirts, they're the superiors there. They're
yes, white shirts are supervisors. The sergeants on up, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, deputy commissioner, war, and all that.
Now, I don't want to get you in trouble or say too many things that that can probably fall back on you. But describe to me, if you could, not the inmate side, but the side of, like, being a guard and the meetings y'all have and the.
Well, that's the first thing. They ain't having no meetings. That's the problem. There's no communication. It's very disorganized. You know what I mean? And especially at the time that I came in, it was like smack dab in COVID. So we were really short-staffed. It's not no communication at all. Unless it's gossiping, they sit in the bubble when they want to talk. That's it. But as far as this and this happened on A12 or D13, and be aware of this and that, no, nothing.
Are the guards purposely, mistreating the inmates in there?
Yes, some are. Absolutely. Absolutely. And honestly, so I was being harassed because I wouldn't join the clique. Like, if you ain't join the clique, then, you enemy. You're the enemy number one. But basically, they want you to treat your own peers, like your people. I'm from North Philly, like he said. Like, I see inmates all the time, ex-inmates everywhere. You know what I mean? I'm in a bar, I'm at the club, I'm in the restaurant. You feel me? You know who I don't see? I don't see COs. Where they at? And I ain't see them. I've been out of there for a year and a half. I ain't seen one of them motherfuckers that I need to see. So, it's just like amazing to me how you can live in the city, because in order to be a CO in the city of Philadelphia, you have to live in the city. And how can you treat people that you possibly could just, rub arms and shoulders with anytime? I don't want to live my life looking over my shoulder. But yes, they will absolutely want you to treat them bad. I mean, just withholding things, toilet paper, blues, orange jumpsuits. Like, I ain't wearing this orange onesie. Like, why are you holding this hostage? Like, why is this such a big deal? Toilet paper. I've had a sergeant make a whole huge scene addressing my whole block over a box of toilet paper. And at this time, the toilet paper was from the wall to wall, floor to ceiling, boxes of toilet paper. I gave them one box of toilet paper. It was a long weekend. It was like a 3-day weekend. Everybody was asking for it. So I'm like, all right, I got y'all. I give them toilet paper. That's the whole thing. Oh, this is my toilet paper. You don't get them extra. They get it on Thursdays and da-da-da. Like, everybody in there ego tripping. You feel me? Rather than just, again, I don't use this one ply. Like, why can't they have it? And after that, he actually moved it. So then it was no more supplies.
And it'll be one second, Tawfiq. I'll vouch for that because I had the honor. Well, not the honor. That sounds kind of crazy, but it was, I witnessed being on the block with this woman, man, and this woman definitely stood for not only the men, but the dudes that's chomos or child molesters. She didn't despair. She treated everybody with respect. She treated everybody, and I'm telling you that out of my mouth, not what I heard, but what I seen and what I counteracted with. This woman. And a lot of y'all out here that's watching today, y'all gonna say the same thing if y'all been to CFC. If a lot of y'all have been there and y'all can sit back and vouch for everything that she's saying is all the way facts. She came in there, it's times that we couldn't even get out and she'd get us out. We done been locked in, she'd come in on her shift and they'd give us an hour real fast. All because she came in and she was with the men. And then I'm not even gonna say with the men, she was with humanity. With humanity, because when you say with the men, it's like, all right, it's like you got a side,
that's
yeah.
What they used to call
no, I'm not. Yeah, that's how they vouch her. Like, we used to see her come on, like niggas being locked in, like say bottom tier is out, but we locked in because we on top tier, and we like, oh, everybody banging on the doors, Miss Harris coming in, because she gonna get them in toilet paper, little stuff like that. Toilet paper, I want to wipe my ass in this joint. I can't wipe my ass because I ran out of roll from goddamn 2 weeks ago, and y'all not passing this shit out. She come right in, go to the back. She ain't tripping about no white shirt, and she bringing this up for the humanity. Dudes is cowards in there. Like you said, a lot of guards getting there, not all of them, but you got ones that's in there on some ego stuff like.
You gonna say most of them, or they either ego tripping or they scary.
Now, let me ask you a question: is it outside of prison? You work with a lot of different individuals in prison. Is it some individuals who abuse their job because outside of prison they don't have no respect? People don't respect them in the streets, and they come into prison just mistreating inmates.
I would say yes. I would think that's the only conclusion I could come to, because I used to tell them, like, listen, I've been a hood celebrity all my life. It was only one of me in the city. I don't have no social media. My name ring bells, and who I am, my character, how I carry myself, who I'm going to be regardless of where I'm at in any space. So I have friends, I have family. I didn't come here to be a part of y'all clique. I came here to provide for my family, my child. So for me, I think that a lot of people who thrive in that space are definitely negative hearts and spirits, as well as they had to be bullied. Because I can't understand why you could come in a place where you meeting somebody at their lowest, you know what I mean, and you want to just keep on putting your foot on their neck, whether they hungry, whether they just need a change of clothes, whether they need some toilet paper. Like, literally, in our mission statement, it was like to provide a safe, clean, lawful environment. You know what I mean? They going against everything that we even supposed to be here to do. We not the judge or the jury.
And the inmates and the guards, I'm assuming a lot of times they clash in there. Like is like so much tension that it could turn into something crazy because of all the tension. What's some of the things you like? I know you said you let the guys get racked, gave them what they needed. What was some of the time? What were some things you did, or some signs you recognized, and you said, no, I need to step in and make do something, whereas though the tension is not so high between the inmates, somebody getting stabbed or going against a guard or so forth and so on.
Well, honestly, I would let them know, like, when I come open up the block, I ain't doing no homework and we ain't doing no dumb shit. We gonna have a good night. We chilling. I mean, everybody in their lane. We good. Like,
you downplaying it, Ms. Harris. No, Ms. Harris would come in. They would give us rec like this, not to cut you off, but they would give us one top tier, get this, the bottom. Then we can't be out together. say bottom tier was out when she came in.
I'm gonna open the whole block.
Man, she come in and open the whole goddamn block. All the guards outside the bubble looking like. She telling them, go ahead, I got this. But men, ain't nobody did nothing. Ain't nobody fighting them because she respected men like, go ahead, man, if y'all do something goofy, it's on y'all. Yeah. I'm coming in to let you, we ain't supposed to be out. Top tier had they hour already. They damn bottom tier. And she'll tell us, all y'all on top tier, just I'll let out, stay off them phones. It's for the bottom tier right now. Let them get they wreck because y'all had your wreck. That's the only thing that would damn near bring us to killing each other in there. But she coming in treating the men like don't no other guard do that, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
no other guard.
When it's time to step in, step in.
And she's a woman by herself on the block, by herself. She come right in. Soon as she come, niggas is banging on the door, they already know. She come right in, doors is buzzing, the whole unit. Ain't nobody opening up no whole unit, man. They letting out one tier at a time over that joint, man.
8 cells.
8, come on, man. She come in, soon she ain't took off nothing yet. Still got her bag. The other guard ain't even leave that she was leaving. The other guard looking at her like, yeah, open this joint up. Let them dudes get they wreck, they hot water for their little food they gonna eat the night and day. And then when she called lock-in, she had a whistle. Dudes is going right to their cell. She ain't even gotta go, because she letting them, she giving us our privilege. Like the little bit that we can get, she giving it to us. So it ain't no, I mean, it's no better than that, man. Like the little bit of stuff, like, and it's not even breaking the law or going outside of it, it's just humanity.
Well, it actually was. So that was a big contingency of their issue with me. They was just dying for something to happen, dying. But
yeah, they wanted us to fight.
Nothing ever would. You know what I mean? So I wasn't supposed to open up the whole block. For me, I hate walking past grown men in this cell looking like puppy dogs, and I gotta tell you no, and all of this. Like, I can't. Nah, I'm gonna just let y'all out, and you fuck it up, you fuck it up.
Let me ask you a question. What was your spill to the inmates? Like, listen, I'm about to open these doors up. What did you say?
Step in. When it's time to step in, step in. No questions. Ain't no running around. First off, I open up the whole block. 5 minutes before we go down, I'm gonna open every door on the block. Make sure y'all get y'all whatever, y'all exchanging, y'all cookies, whatever, books, whatever. Do all that. Y'all got 5 minutes to do that. When that whistle go off, step in, lock the door, gentlemen. Tell your boyfriend good night.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I forgot to tell your boyfriend good night. Go to the cell.
He gonna be here tomorrow. I promise. I promise he gonna be here.
Wow. Now, working in the prisons now, I heard do guards like brag and boast about certain jails being rougher than the other, or working like, I work over here is tough, or is that just a rumor?
No, I mean, jail is jail. Jail is jail. I would tell you, for me, the worst time I've had in jail was working at DC. One summer, female intake. I was on C block, and we didn't have no running water. Like, the water was just warm. We ain't had no like cold water, no hot water. We had to like get coolers and fill them up with ice and water to even have something to drink. We had 6 fans for a 3-story block. The breakers kept going off, and now they women, so these bitches is tripping. They fighting every 5 minutes. It's intake, so they just coming off of all of they, whatever you was on the street. You getting acclimated to now being in jail, They did them women dirty. They used to feed them at 4 p.m. every day. They didn't lock in until 10:30 at night.
Wow.
And I would be breaking up fights over stealing cookies and trays or whatever, because, it was intake, so they don't have commissary yet. And at the time, D.C., when the books was closed, so it wasn't no other inmates housed there except for, like, the psych ward. So, of course, they not out in mobile. So, if the women were able to come up with any noodles or something, to get, I would allow them to get water or something like that. But I began going to the staff lunchroom, right? And so I asked them what they do with the food. One, I ain't never ate from the staff lunchroom. Every once and again, they might have something to look appeasing, but for the most part, I ain't eating that mess. This is what they feed inmates. Like, that just didn't make sense to me. Yeah. So I would ask them what they doing. They said they throw the food away. So I had arranged for me to get the food instead of them throwing it away, to help, calm the block down and just ease tensions, because again, we just coming off the street. We ain't got none of the amenities that all the other jails have. You know what I mean? So it was a lot, and that worked for a while, and it definitely created a more calm environment. But then I had a lieutenant and an officer who was upset about that, and oh, that's not your problem, and da da da. It is my problem though. If I'm over here, just because I ain't calling responses every 5 minutes, I'm over here
Tell them
dealing
what a
with.
response is, Ms. Harris, because a lot of people don't know what a response
Okay,
is.
so a response is when something happened, you gonna call for a response if it's like a fight or if anything, happened. A full response is somebody really getting hurt. It's a stabbing, it's a free fall or something like that or whatever. But I ain't calling for responses or anything. So to me, it's like just because that's not happening, it just means I'm doing my job effectively. Let me do my job.
Yeah.
But they cut that out, and then I would get the county cookies. I ain't never ate a pack of county cookies in my life, but that's something simple.
I ate 1,000 in one.
The fruit, the apples, all that stuff used to just like go bad in the staff room. So I'm like, here, get this to them so that they calm, they not fighting over everything. So women are more catty, they fight way more than the men, but when men fight, it's more violent. You feel me? So that was like the dealing for women and men, trade off.
Let me ask you a question. You have to choose between working a woman's facility or a men's facility. Which one would you choose?
Men, definitely the men.
Why?
It's less fight, it's less cattiness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When men get into something, it's going to be over something serious. It's going to be for real. Yes, it can be more violent, but it's not as often. And truthfully, with myself, I didn't really have a lot of responses. I didn't have a lot of issues. Ain't a bunch
You
of
don't
fights.
never hit no response. A nigga got knocked out your desk. You forgot I was over there with you and you broke it up yourself.
Well, yes, I broke it up myself. I
Nigga
did
got
call
knocked out and
response.
you turned around. You was working a double that day. You overnight shift. And that happened early in the morning. That's when they didn't want to let us clean. You let us clean. You went and opened up all the closets. You opened everything. Man, Bull got knocked out right there. You got up, grabbed him, told him to go over here. But everybody respect you though, so that's why, because you treated the men fair.
What's the worst thing you've seen working, like as far as a confrontation between inmates? What's the worst incident you ever seen, male or female?
The worst thing, well, females is just fighting caddies. That's nothing. It's not really. They not stabbing each other and nothing like that. They pulling hair, The men are worse. They stabbing one another and stuff like that. But I feel like that's normal. That's not really something that I would say that would be the worst thing. Most of the time, for me, negative things happen right when I leave. The creator was always watching over me. You feel me? I didn't have to witness a lot of that. Most of the worst thing I seen was like conditions, like how they would leave. Like I had a inmate one time where I guess they was afraid to open the door to let him out, so they was just like throwing the trays in there and leaving them. I didn't know when I was sent to this block. I come to the block, his medication, he on the list, so I let him out. When I opened the door, it was just like all these flies, like it was almost biblical. Like all these flies just jumped out at me, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like what's happening? The smell. And he actually walked out. He went and got his medication, and he walked back in. He closed his own door. He didn't give me no issues. So from there, I ended up getting his cell clean and stuff like that. Like just like how y'all letting somebody live like this? You know what I mean? If y'all not, built for it, don't be here. If you scared, go home. Like,
You scared, go home. Wow.
Everyone knows prison is a serious matter. Prison is oppression. But nothing's worse than going to prison and not knowing what to expect. Or coming home after being incarcerated for years and not knowing what to expect. We help you here at Tales from the Jails. We offer consultation for those who are going to prison, also those who are coming home from prison, and also we have different features and options for those who are in prison. If you're looking for consultation to assist you in these matters, contact us, talesfromthejail.com. That's talesfromthejail.com. Book your consultation today.
We understand that some people have to be in prison. The prisons have to be here to protect individuals in society who are trying to live the right way. With that being said, why do you think that people are just becoming COs or working, but not actually doing their job? And they're treating these people kind of probably judging these people before they even sentenced and mistreating them. Why do you think that is? Like, what do you think is the main reason for that?
well, they're overworked and underpaid, unappreciated, it's unorganized. You feel unsafe. You also being treated very bad, spoken to very disrespectfully. Like that was like the biggest wake up call for me. I never been in such a paramilitary situation where I had to jump through all these loops to get here, drug tests and this and that, background checks and all this, general orders, had to go through training, had to do all this extra stuff to get to somewhere for them to talk to me like I'm an inmate, you know what I mean? Treat me like I'm just anybody. And that was where once I got off probation, that shit was over. Like, you want to disrespect me? I'm finna disrespect you. Now we just disrespecting each other. It's kind of like that environment where if you want to allow somebody to walk all over you and tell you something that don't make sense, then they will,
Yeah. So another question, because, something that we've heard about and, things that we hear that go on. Why is it that do you think that, sometimes women, COs and maybe men on the women's side, on the women prison, why do you think that women become involved with inmates, and how does that happen?
Familiarity. I think which they don't realize we doing time with y'all. We here with you every day. Most of my day is there. If my shift is 12 hours, I'm always getting hooked. That's 16. But if I don't get relieved, that's 18. You feel me? I'm here with just as much with you. So I can see how people can build certain relationships that can be inappropriate. You know what I mean? But you also supposed to have boundaries and know what matter. Again, I got mouth to feed. I got a responsibility. So certain things you just entertain. But I definitely had my guys that I'm been with. Typically, it'd be my workers. They're the ones who won't be allowed to be around me more often than not. And I sit and I actually talk. But I would talk to my whole block, everybody. Every time I walked on that block, I greeted every single cell, every single person. You know what I mean? I'm gonna make sure I know what's going on. If you need to talk, if I notice something different in your energy, I'm going to find out what's happening. If you're hungry, I'm going to feed you. So just that type of environment for me.
Because I understand, like, because I'm from Philly too as well, West Philly to be exact. But it's some good guys, and women, men and women in prison.
Some very talented people in prison. And some innovative people in prison. Taught me things, how to make a flame with a bread tie and some batteries. Well, some people like make ink out of like the Bernards and stuff, for like their paintings. And
they don't know what Bernard is, but tell them what the Bernard is.
Oh, Bernard is a juice. This the tales from the jail. They know what Bernard is.
A lot of people don't.
You gotta inform that, because a lot of people just intrigued, like they want to know what's going on.
Well, Bernard is juice packets or whatever that the inmates would get with their food. People would turn that into ink and stuff for different pictures and stuff like that. Some very intelligent people in there. It's a lot of different talent, singing, rapping, whatever. Like, it's a lot of people who, are there. Just because you're here don't necessarily mean you're guilty. Doesn't necessarily mean sometimes you are guilty. You know what I mean? Maybe you did a bunch of shit. You're not here for what you did this time, whatever. But it's all different types of people. It's a melting pot in there.
How do you deal with knowing an inmate who's, like you said, you're bidding with them, you in there with them, and they on trial for some serious stuff, and then they go to trial and they're found guilty and they get sentenced, and you find out they get a lot of time. Does that affect you mentally, or does it affect you the way you feel emotionally?
It's sad to see that. It's sad to see so many young black men falling victim to the system. But what I want them to understand is that the system is working effectively, and I think it has a lot to do with this music. Y'all living out these lyrics, but that ain't how them people living. That ain't what they doing. One thing I always hate is like Future. He don't do no drugs. He don't even drink, if I'm not mistaken. He's been very vocal about that. But he got songs, Molly Percocet and all that, and that's what y'all listening to, and that's what's like reprogramming you. That's what you hear day in, day out. That's all you putting into your psyche. So that's what you living out. That's who you becoming.
Yeah, I saw something like that earlier, where those spoke about people who are waking up in the morning, listening to rap music and then listen to it all day, and it programs your mind.
Absolutely.
It really do.
It puts you in a different space. Like, so I don't really listen to new age rap, but if I am going to listen to it, it definitely would be a mood. But for the most part, I like oldies. I think people should check out Abundance Frequency. Just check it out, Abundance Frequency. Are you familiar with it?
No, I'm not.
Basically, it's the music of the gods. You know what I mean? It's soothing to your soul. It clears blockages within your energy. It brings you to a higher state of mind and being. So
now you mentioned the music. Outside of the music, what do you think is like causing a lot of these young guys and young women to enter into the prison system, and what do you think is some of the remedies to that?
Well, I would say the biggest thing is music, but poverty and crime go hand in hand. You know, at the end of the day, I think that everyone doesn't have old heads or certain influences around them where they were positive, where they had somebody who actually cared about them and wanted to see them do better. And everybody doesn't know how to pull themselves up out of that struggle. You know what I mean? So I think that for me, more successful black people and young black men or women or whatever, instead of being gatekeepers, need to be more, open, just more, accessible.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Hold on, I want to ask you, because you've been there for 3.5 years, right? And I've been in and out damn near all my life. From your point of view, from your standpoint, from Philadelphia correctional system, state road, not even upstate, do you think that is rehabilitation?
Absolutely not. No, I mean it can be if you in your right mind and like shit. I don't want to be back here.
But besides that, but what the jail has to offer as far as programs or whatever it is, do you think that's rehabilitation? CFCF,
well, to
DC?
be honest with you, when I was in the jail, so I came at a time where it was at its worst. With COVID, it was very short staff and stuff like that. So I didn't see a lot of programs being used in my 3.5 years. You know what I mean? I didn't see, maybe my last year they started doing school again, but maybe Jumar or Spanish church. That's the only church I used to see that get done was Spanish church. So maybe they did that a little bit, but it wasn't really no programs. They was barely doing a law library. But I would say that for mostly the young kids, they're addicts. They were in there running around doing that K2 stuff, deuce. And if your mind not right, your spirit, you in here is supposed to be reading, working out, getting your, fighting your case, getting home, not in here just chilling with your friends like it's a playground, and indulging.
And that's majority of what's going on in there right now.
That is majority of.
At an alarming rate, ladies and gentlemen. I love the word alarming rate.
Yeah, it is. The K2 in the jail is really, really, really bad right now, and that is some of the crazy stuff I've seen. Like I've seen people like throw up off of it, like The Exorcist. I mean, like it just was just coming from their body. I'm like, how much did they eat? Like it was just crazy. I've seen people flip out and act like they swimming on a brick floor or concrete floor or whatever. Just crazy things like that I've seen, but it's mostly the drugs, but I get it because they're in there trying to escape. But instead of escaping in a positive way,
How many deaths you saw in prison?
3.
What was these people being murdered or just passed away?
I believe one was murder. The other was probably overdose.
Wow. Man, so people understand that if you go to jail, there's a chance you may not come out. You may not make it out. So you gotta take jail serious. Well, take it serious. Take your life serious before you go to prison, because as you heard, you can go in there and you can lose yourself, through drugs or being murdered and so forth and so on. Now, my guy Braheem Jackson, he's been in State Road so much when we was young up until adulthood, and a lot of this stuff. Well, Tales from the Jails is something that he wanted to do. And and bring something different to the table, and that's why he invited you up here to give a perspective. Now, being in and seeing this guy in prison, how was he in there? Like, what type of guy was he in there? Because he out here saying he was holding all this stuff down. People need to know what type of guy he was in there.
He was a good dude. He was quiet. He was in and out because you was going to the feds, right? Wasn't with me too long. But he stayed to himself. If the youngest wanted to learn, he was willing to teach. From what I seen, but I ain't had no problems with Black. Black was young.
He never get checked in there like mine. Was like take his comp because he's always want money. I was wondering why he always wanted money on his books every week. Like what was going on?
Well, you gotta eat. You
gotta eat.
You gotta eat. That phone cost.
Them trades.
But I'm saying it was a little bit too much. I just want to make sure when nobody shaking him down.
Nah.
Oh, all right. I gotta make sure.
I was one of the guys getting let out to work. I was her orderly. I worked overnight. I passed out the trays in the morning. We cracking doors. You know what I mean? She talking about get him 3. I'm like, well, all right, shit, Ms. Harris feeding them in. Yeah, man, they was black. Can I get another one? Hey, she's gonna take that shit up there. We ain't eating that.
I ain't eating it. You know what I mean? I never understood it. Like, especially in like intake, they used to send up a bunch of trays. They just used to let it go to waste. I'm like, no, warm that up. I'm gonna give it to them. Like they're hungry. You know, everybody can't buy a $50 bag or $100 bag from the worker block. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just believe in treating people how I want to be treated, and I think that that's why, you know, the good karma that does come back to me is in a way like being, you know, given the opportunity to come here to talk with y'all. I've been in a club, somebody sent me a bottle, you know, I've been at the halal stand, they paid for my order, you know what I mean? People, or they just come and tell me, you know, thank you, Miss Harris, you was really good to me and to us and treat us with respect. I appreciate you. So that made it worthwhile, even though I was like, you know, going through things, being harassed because I was doing those things.
Now, describe for me, if you can, like, you know, some of the, you know, difficulties of actually, you know, being in your position. You know, you're trusting these inmates, letting them out, and you're being lenient. You're just, you know.
Well, I ain't lean. I'm looking around. I'm on my
Not lean. I don't want to say lenient, but you're extending. You know,
extending a courtesy. Absolutely. Yes. I definitely. Of course, some days you be wondering, and you know, you feel certain energies, but you just be on point. Keep your head on swivel. Pay attention what's going on. No certain cues. If everybody get quiet, something happening. Everybody looking one way. Where they looking at? What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Just being aware of what's going on. That's all I can say. That's
so
like,
when it get quiet, something happening.
Absolutely. If it get too quiet, that's the loudest place. That's like a big.
If that block get quiet, it's going down.
And it's all metal, so all the sound bounce off of it. If it get quiet, yeah, something happening. Like, all right, if you hear sneakers screeching, you know what I mean? Something going down, because ain't no sneakers screeching out on the cement in the yard.
This ain't no basketball court.
Yeah.
What the hell is this going?
Yeah.
You got a whole bunch of. Oh yeah, they over there. They mixing.
Yeah.
I ask you a question though. It's something I was always wanted to ask. Why is it when an inmate or somebody gets sentenced to life in prison, they're sent to the hole immediately? Why is that?
I don't know. Well, I know, but I always question it as well, because
You've seen it, Ms. Harris?
Yes, I have seen it, and I just thought that was the stupidest thing, because I feel like that would make me want to kill myself. That's not. They say it's to protect them and to protect them from other inmates, and that they're state property now. But to me, I think that the system is working effectively. Like, this is a system created for black people, black and brown people, you know, by our oppressor. You know what I mean? And even though on State Road most of the COs look like us, you know what I mean? That don't mean all skinful and kinful. You feel me? But a lot of people aren't thinking higher about the whole breakdown. To me, that's just to put you in a worse space, in a worse mental space. You feel me? Because why would you isolate somebody and put them in the hole? Why not just put them on a block where everyone's been sentenced, where they're still out and about and able to move around, be able to talk about your emotions and your feelings and work through it, rather than put you in a cell by yourself and tell you, you know what I mean, go ahead. You don't know next time you getting out anything. You know what I mean? Because when you in a hole, that's like 23 and 1, right?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I know you hear all this stuff about home care. Home care is dying, or home care is no longer what it was years ago, but it's coming back around. Don't forget, I'm telling you first, contact TNS Licensing and Consulting. Start your home care agencies today. Right now, for just $999, you can start the process to get your home care agency up and running. That's $999. Contact TNS Licensing and Consulting to get you your LLC, your EIN, everything going in home care. Because the MCOs are coming back around. You don't want to miss out. Next year is going to be a big year for home care. Call now, 267-534-5053. That's 267-534-5053. Don't wait. I know you see this commercial. Call now. TNS Licensing and Consulting. They will start the process to get your home care agency off the ground. That's 267-534-5053 for only $999. Get the process started today. TNS Licensing and Consulting. 267-534-5053. TNS Licensing and Consulting. Call now. Get your home care agency started for only $999 right now.
Describe for the viewers and listeners, you know, because we're, and I want to say that we appreciate the fans all around, you know, the world who's been tuning in. Now, describe for them, you know, the protocol as far as when somebody gets found guilty and sentenced to go upstate? What happens to them coming back to the prison?
Well, essentially, as soon as you get back, all your stuff already was packed up for you. You don't even get to go back to the block. They send you right to the hole. You now getting strip searched, got a cough, been over, and all that. And then, depending on how serious, you either getting shackled. I think you might be going straight to the glass house, if I'm not mistaken.
What's the glass house?
Glass house is basically you shackled everywhere. You from your feet and your hands, wherever you move. Whether you taking a shower, whether you eating your food, whether you going to use the phone or whatever, you gotta be shackled.
That's after, and that doesn't mean you have to be sentenced to life. That's just someone who just got sentenced, period.
No, it's typically somebody with life. It's typically somebody maybe with a high profile case, like serious time, 30 years, you know, something like that. It's typically that.
You could get 10 years, 5 years, you'll still be on the unit.
Yeah, that's not, because that's not something they feel like would be so life-changing and would make you pause. They say it's to save, you know, other inmates and protect them from other people, but it doesn't make sense because, you know, when you in there, what I will say is that what I see is the most unity amongst our young men and women, because you are in this negative space and you are being oppressed. So y'all do band together and look out for each other and, you know, have each other back. You know what I mean? I do see that a lot. So I don't think that if you getting sentenced, you're going to come back and want to hurt somebody. You're going to come back and want to talk about it, you know, get encouragement, you know. But that ain't up. I don't make the rules, so that ain't up for me to decide.
So, and now that they're sent to the glass house and then they're waiting for what, the bus to come get them, or how does that work?
That could, however long, that could take months, weeks. It doesn't matter, you know. The system, they do what they want.
Wow. So you're sitting in the glass house, just basically 23-1 or whatever the case may be,
Stewing.
waiting for them to come get you.
And just in their space, yeah.
That's crazy. Now, when that bus comes, you know, how often? Look, people don't know. So how often does the bus come, and what days does it come?
I wouldn't be able to tell you that. I was a block officer, so
okay.
I'm in the trenches. I'm in
When
the
they say
hood.
over CFC, if they say Tuesdays and Thursdays was the upstate trip.
Okay.
And it comes once a week. So if I got sentenced on a Friday, I ain't probably gonna leave to that next Thursday. Or whenever they ready to come pick me on the list.
Is it just one bus, or is it multiple buses in one
No,
day?
it's just one bus. It's just one bus to take you upstate, because they only gonna take about 40 dudes. You gotta think like who all getting sentenced. It ain't gonna be a whole lot. I mean, out of whole jail with CFC have hold about what, 2,500 to $3,000 people. You know, you every week, you know, they move about 40 people that got sentenced already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, boom, they getting them right out of there. And then, like I said, they might got you down there just sitting and waiting. You got life, so you just sit in the hole. You ain't going nowhere. We to get you.
Yeah.
Don't even trick. We coming to get you.
Wow.
But
See?
right now, you're going to sit right here until we get ready to get you.
Yeah, stay free, stay out of jail, because you know, you heard what she said. You get sentenced, and you sitting. Not only are you gonna go through a hardship of sometimes of being on the block, because you don't have everybody like Ms. Harris said that's gonna be helping you out. It's gonna
Damn
be,
sure don't.
you don't have people like that. Sometimes they locking you in. You in, you know, extreme conditions as far as, you know, is being, you know, dirty and filthy. Then you got to go in front of the judge. Judge sentence you. You come back. Now you're gonna be locked, administered to the hole, right? Administered to the whole glass house, and then the bus come. And they get even worse than that bus, and now you're going upstate, you know, and those people, up, you know, those guards up there, as we know, talking to people that went upstate, they very, very disrespectful. They're knocking teeth off looking at them. What do you call it, reckless eyeballing or something like that?
Yeah, reckless eyeballing and all that other crazy ass shit.
Is that in the county too, reckless eyeballing?
I think they probably could use it, but it's more so like when you go to your jails. I mean, a guard tell you something to do, and you get to staring, and they can write you up for that.
Wow. Man, I mean, it just seemed like it's like super duper oppressive. And
Well, sometimes I think, you know, from me speaking and being a convict, you got to have that in place because niggas will run wild. Now, can you abuse that power? Yes. But do I think it need to be in place? Yes. You got dudes in there that do hideous, horrendous stuff, man. So you can't have, it can't be like this. We in here and just, okay, everything. No, you got to have rules in place. Jail is for niggas, the worst of the worst. You got some dudes in there that did what the hell they did. Killed babies, raped girls, yeah. So yes, you have to have this in place. But can it get abused? Yes, it can.
oh, is it true also that if I heard this too, like if an inmate just popping off, talking crazy out of his mouth, the CO or the guard look up his information and say, hold on, he got $3 on his book or no, is that true? Or what he's being charged with?
Sometimes sometimes you can. I can see, like, any officer can see your charges, but not everybody has the access to be able to see your books. So some people do, some people don't, and yeah, I have seen guards do that.
Hold up, you were here for they start.
Yeah, and your bail
Exposing-
only a deuce, nigga. You been here 9 months. Pay that deuce, you bum. I be like, ooh.
Yeah,
In state
I
road,
wasn't
more
one
so
of
it's
them.
women. There's a
Yeah.
lot of women that run that jit that like,
Oh, it's ran by women.
yes.
Yeah, it's ran by women. As far as the officers, you probably get more men going up the rank, but definitely it's mostly women on the blocks.
And see, a lot of women wouldn't like you, Ms. Harris, and I stress that to you because the way, and it's not just it's just the way you treated another human being. You got women that come in there, man, and the Section 8 got them the jobs and all that. They really ain't qualified, and then they burnt out baby mothers. They got 3-4 baby fathers. They mad at the world, and not all of them, but they mad.
Yeah.
So they getting in a little conflict, but they talking shit, man. This shit like some real live project shit.
Yeah, I mean, and so I used to try to talk to, especially the younger officers coming in, because there's a lot of new officers. Like, I would never argue with an inmate, even if he's disrespecting me. He talk crazy to me or whatever. I let him get his shit off. Oh, okay, I'm the nigga with the key. I'm literally the hand that feeds you. You gonna have to come talk to me again. You gonna need me before I need you. Kind of thing. So I never come out of my character and pussy this and that, like, because that's not who I am as a woman. Like, I don't talk to men like that. I wouldn't talk to my father like that. You know what I mean? If you take me there, it can be there, but that's not. And at work, I'm being professional. You know what I mean? I can't let you see you could ruffle my feathers in that manner, that easily, just because of some words. You know what I mean? When again, you are the hand that feeds them. You the nigga with the key. If I say you can't come out, you can't come out. If I tell a nigga they don't give you no water, you won't get no water. Now, I wouldn't do that, but I can, and sometimes I have to come to a young man or something, have that conversation with him, put it in a different perspective, you know what I mean? But for the most part, if I was ever disrespected, they would come back and, would apologize, you know what I mean? And I would always say, you disrespected me all loud, but this apology, you whispering, give me that same energy, kind of thing.
Wow.
But I I hated seeing women do that because it's just, to me, undermined your authority, and it was unattractive. It doesn't, it was unbecoming. I hated to see that.
Wow. So people do it, like you said, they abuse their power. And then the inmates, sometimes, a lot of times, inmates can be in the wrong too.
Yeah. The majority of the time, the inmate is in the wrong, and then the woman or the male, CO, didn't know how to confront that conversation. So they go to the petty way, or like whatever. Like, a lot of people don't know how to carry it like how she do.
Yeah, and what we have to understand is that, officers and inmates, we human beings alike. We both got lives, we both got stresses, we got shit going on in our personal lives. So a lot of times, you're supposed to separate work and, personal once you get in there, but sometimes people can't do that, you know what I mean? And at the same time, I used to tell men, like, I'll never forget, I don't know, did you remember that guy, he used to be in 8 cell, the whole head Poppy Bull?
Oh, that was burnt out, hollering all the time in the corner cell.
Yeah. One morning, that guy over here cursed me out 8 o'clock in the morning.
Buck Raw was ready to knock his ass out. Old Bucky, shout out to Bucky Raw.
Shout out to Buck, that's my guy. But he cursed me out so bad, front to back, early in the morning. I said,
he had some shit going on though.
Yeah, I said, Mr. So-and-so, you ain't mad at me. We ain't fucking. It's 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, that's what you told him.
And I walked the fuck away. I ain't finna feed into that. I mean, curse me out in front of everybody. Like, you not mad at me. I went over back to my desk, and of course he came and apologized. You know what I mean? Because I didn't go to his level. Now, if I stoop to his level, I'm just as bad. Now, you didn't take me out of my energy, my character, my peace. So I had to protect my energy in there. That's what you really had to do. And it's a thinking job more than anything. You know what I mean? Because I'm outnumbered, I'm outstrength. You know what I mean? But I gotta be able to out-reason, out-think.
Yeah. Well, it shows you have a lot on your plate. You got to be, sharp mentally, to deal with this, stuff. And it seemed like you had it down to a science. Like you had, everything down to a science as far as how you was going to move inside that prison.
I feel like the inmates, everybody always asks me what was it like, and they think that it's the inmates. The inmates was easy. They made my day. You know what I mean? Because if you come in and you walk in a room where you receiving round of applause. Like, I've walked on blocks and received round of applause from everybody
That's
on
the
this
hell
block.
you did.
You feel me? And
I
I ain't did
was one
shit
of
but
them.
show up. You know what I mean? They just happy to see me. And I think that The hardest part wasn't the inmates. That was easy because again, I'm from the hood. I grew up around them. Like that's easy, and it's really respect. That's it. That's all it is. Like you respect me, I respect you. Same way. I think the hardest part for me was now my colleagues and how they basically made me an outsider, and to me it became a point like now I can don't even trust you. I don't feel safe. Like if are you going to pay somebody to hurt me, or would how low would you go? Like I mean, I was dealing with petty things like I had a sergeant hiding a chair from me. It was like just weird things, threatening to write me up over it. Like, I've had lieutenants come on the block and essentially tell the inmates not to listen to me, not to do what I tell them to do in my face, kind of thing, and upset because they gonna move how I tell them to move. You know what I mean? Because I'm the one here in the trenches. I'm the one who do for them. I'm the one who make sure they get their legal mail. I'm the one who make sure they got what they need. None of y'all talk a good game, but y'all don't never fall through. I follow through.
Yeah.
So I think that really it was easy because it's just keeping my word, and I think that's just who I am as a person. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. And if you don't stand for something, you won't fall for anything. So I feel like I knew who I was walking into that jail, and I wasn't gonna let anybody sway that and change it. And that's what a lot of guards get caught up in when they get in there. They want to join the cliques, and they want to take on other people's negative energies and experiences, and wallow in that. Like I didn't do that.
Now, what would be your message to anyone that's watching this? Any young viewer, male or female, old viewer, anybody who's looking to live a life of crime. What would be your advice to them about whether it's life or entering the penal system? What would be your
I would
your
tell
advice?
you, educate yourself. There's so much out here to do. There's so much money. There's so many hustles. There's so many things that you could do. I've been working since I was 12 years old. I started off going to the store for the old head ladies on the block, running their numbers for them, doing little odd jobs for my family, babysitting. Once I could get a job, I went to the library. I was a tutor. I worked for the city as a tutor. I used to help the kids after school, and I'm still a kid. I'm in school, but I would help the younger kids with their homework and stuff like that. Just keep yourself busy. Like if there's a will, there's a way. Always keep the creator first and foremost in your life. You know what I mean? Whatever you believe in, but the creator is the higher power. And the enemy greatest trick was to tell us that we weren't at war. We at war. Everything happens for a reason. The things happening around you is for a reason. Take heed. If an energy don't feel right, it don't feel right. It ain't right. You know what I mean? You have so much more power than what the enemy wants you to believe. School right now, they're teaching y'all to be new age workers. They're not teaching you to be independent thinkers. Think for yourself. You want to own property. You want a business. You want to do this. You can do it. Ask ChatGPT. They'll give you a whole rundown of how to. Whatever you need to do, just get it. Get up and get it. Don't sit around wait for nobody to give it to you, and definitely don't take it from nobody else that's working hard for it. Sensitive what you intake, that music, the social media. Like, all right, so I haven't had social media since I was 21. I'm 32. I was the generation that it started on. At a very young age, I realized that it was a distraction. I've been sitting here scrolling. I ain't even take off my coat. It's been 4 hours. You know what I mean? And then it's like, I just after this, and then it just never stops. It keeps coming.
It's addictive.
You know what I mean? That's an addiction. You know what I'm saying? Where I come from, my father was a crack addict. I don't want to be addicted to anything if it ain't weed. So just at the end of the day, be mindful of your intake with this music. If you listen to murder, kill all day, what do you think that you programming yourself? Think about it in this way. Anything, like I have a young son, when he was learning his ABCs, his 1, 2, 3s, his colors, his shape, all that is over a music soundtrack. That's because music helps you, is repetition, and it helps soak into your soul. So at the end of the day, if you listen to this negativity, that's what you're getting. That's what you're giving yourself. So give yourself positivity. Monitor. If you see somebody around you who they doing better and they doing good, don't be jealous. Ask them how did they do it. Break their mind. Figure out how to put yourself in their position. But just hustle. Like, y'all don't have to, and hustling don't have to necessarily be drugs. You know what I'm saying? It could be anything. You could be hustling waters. I know somebody that make $500 a week on the summer. I'm sorry, not even a week, every 2 days in the summertime selling waters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's something. It's a hustle, but you got to be able to get up and get out there and do it and be the best at whatever you want to do. But mind your intake, and I would say educate yourself. Always read. Always want to, listen to podcasts or whatever. Anything that's going to make you better, help you learn something. Go towards that. Don't, go towards negativity.
Yeah.
Because that's a negative place.
Exactly. Is it any one or two things that you learned from an inmate that was like powerful, something that you hold on to that you learned from an inmate, something they said or did while you was in there?
There was many things. What can I say that stood out the most? What can I say that stood out the most? I had an inmate tell me, don't make decisions about money when you're desperate.
Mm.
That was something that stood out to me because it was a point in my life where I was considering doing something wrong, but it didn't sit right with me. And be like, don't make decisions about money when you're desperate. Always sit in stillness and get to a better space.
And that's a lot of, and that's I'm gonna cut you off, but that's a lot of reasons why people be in prison. They make desperate decisions about money when they desperate. They make decisions from like, I need to get this money now. So it's like they're
Is
doing
they
anything.
wrong, though?
Yeah.
I mean, again, if you wind up there, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You could tell the outcome.
Yeah, when you moving out of desperation, no good can come from it. You gotta, sit still, pray on it. You know what I mean? And the answer shall always be given, always. I would say that was like the most influential thing, but it's been so many things. I can't even think of one thing, but I would tell you that many different conversations, and whoever does see this, and the people, like all of them meant something to me. Hear other people's stories, these struggles, the life they lived. You know what I mean? I learned from you. I learned from, your pain and your hurt, I would say it's just everything. It's so many things. I couldn't wind it down to one, but that was a one that stuck out to me. That was the first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah, that was a major thing that you just said. Don't make decisions about money when you're desperate, because
that's how you wind up there.
You wind up in prison. That's a lot of people's fate. They make desperate decisions. I was one of them. I made some decisions like that, but it just I see now by thinking back in my younger years, making like desperate decisions. I see how that makes a lot of sense. So, anything else you want to add, Mr. Jackson, before we go?
I think we pretty much covered everything, man. I'm glad Ms. Harris came up here, man, to enlighten us on what's going on from a former correctional officer standpoint, working over there with the men, being around other colleagues of hers, and being around dudes that's, ultimately locked up for things that they're blamed for, until proven guilty. But how she separated herself just as a human being of still giving out the respect. They say the respect is due to a dog, man. At the end of the day, man. And this is one of the reasons why she was so much respected, because she passed it out.
Yeah.
The fight. The old saying, you got to bring ass to get ass in the fight. And you got to bring respect to get respect, and that's real, man. In there, out here, especially in there. Whether you a convict or whether you a CO. And the COs that make it and thrive there, don't get me wrong, you got some dickhead COs in there that's on all nut shit. But it's all, niggas is putting shit on the door handles and shit like that. Especially in the federal zone where I've been at, nigga go down a whole row of cells and all shit on it. He going to lock in. And then he like, well, goddamn, well, yeah, because you running around here mistreating the men.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I feel like when that type of stuff is happening, it's because they're creating that environment. Like, as the CO, you know what I mean? Basically, this is my house. When I come in, I set the tone. I set the energy. So if I come in with this negativity and I'm on all bullshit, I'm going to get all bullshit. If I come in there, I smile every day. I say, hello, how y'all doing? You know what I mean? I'm respectful. You know what I mean? I do my job. I get nothing but peace. Like I didn't have, so my experience in the jail wasn't what everyone else's experience in the jail was. Like, and except for, how about this, the other side, I got most of my hate from the COs and the white shirts and stuff like that, from being written up all the time and just being harassed constantly in my ear or spreading rumors about me and stuff like that. But from the job itself, I think that, I think everyone I came in contact with, because y'all taught me so much about myself, you know what I mean, about the power within me, who I am, you know what I mean, to be able to control a block of 128 men with nothing but some pepper spray and some keys, you know what I mean, that taught me about a lot about who I am and how how to move. And how I move and how to continue to move that way. So even though they trying to get me to be something different, you know what I mean, I watch them can't put no block down. They running around. It'll take them 20 minutes. If my block don't go down in 5 minutes, it's a problem. Oh, so I'm going to take them 5 minutes to open up late tomorrow. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got an issue with that. So, you know what I mean? Like, again, all the things that I learned, it was a bittersweet situation. You know what I mean? I think that it caused me a lot of stress. You know, I began drinking and smoking, but it wasn't the inmates. It was the harassment I'm receiving from the other side, because I don't want to join the cliques, because I don't want to be sleeping with nobody, because I don't want to sit in the booth with y'all and talk about nothing all night. You know what I mean? Like, shit like that. So it taught me so much, and it taught me a lot about my power. And I feel like, again, for anybody, like, you know, educate yourself and be true to who you are. You know what I mean? Don't, you know, just move like how somebody else wants you to move because they are in a higher position than you, or because you have a certain view of them. You know what I mean? Know who you are. Know what you're willing to stand for or fall for.
You knew Dot while he was in there?
He looks familiar. Did we meet before? Your face looked familiar.
Everybody know Dot. Everybody know.
I don't know if we met there, but do I look familiar to you? Because I don't forget faces. But I don't forget faces. I definitely seen your face before.
Yeah. Everybody know Dots, and you know.
That's a hell of a face.
Shout out to Dot.
Did not remember. Goddamn.
No, I don't forget faces. I feel like I've seen his face before, but it could just be a mistaken. I don't hear none, remember? I mean, unless you like, I go on World Star. I still go on World Star.
Oh yeah, you might have seen Dot on the on World Star on the mating call. It was on World Star. Picked it up. Yeah. You might have saw Dot on there. He was in there. He was on the podcast for the mating call segment. That little we had something that World Star picked up and posted on there on that platform. But yeah, so we thank you for coming through. Anything else you want to add before you go?
No, not really. But thank you for having
me. But a lot of people is gonna. You know, they're gonna tune in. A lot of people is gonna see this, and they're gonna be appreciative of the information you just gave. Because a lot of people won't, like people try to, act like they was one way. You just kept it thorough. You just told the truth of who you was. People come up here and I was carrying it this way and that way. You wasn't doing none of that, man. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I had to, I'm not trying to say I'm glad that I was over there in that predicament with you, but I had the chance to experience it. Because I took my dumb ass to jail, so, but being, by me taking my ass to jail, I landed on a unit with a cold-blooded woman, which is you, and you treated the men with respect. And I want to say thank you again, not only for my behalf, but for all them. I'm speaking for all the men that was underneath your command when you had them units.
Underneath my care, not command, my care.
Yeah.
Because I ain't command this shit.
Right.
It was, again, we both did, we played each other, we played our parts. Like, that's all I could say. Like, I never treated people like, I'm in control, or I'm this, I'm that. Like, no, like, you treat me with respect, I'm going to treat you with respect. That's all I asked for. So, thank you for having me, like, giving me the opportunity here. This is how this is possible.
Well, you're going to have to get some social media if you're going to want, YouTube.
Nah, you see me when you see me. I mean, I don't need that.
Incognito.
Incognito.
And I'm always a sight to see.
You better say it. Goddamn, you better say it.
Yeah, so.
But thank you all for having me. Thank you.
Oh, for sure. Anything else you want to? Anything you want to add? That something you want to say? Yeah. So we covered everything. Once again, I thank you for coming to the show. It was very enlightening to speak to someone of your stature who, kind of, I don't want to say ruled the guys, but had the guys in
care.
In your care. And you treated the guys fairly, and the women treated them fairly as human beings, not as criminals. So I want to say that I appreciate that.
Or as inmates. Like, yeah. I hate that word. I like to refer to me as convict or criminal or whatever. But the
incarcerated person.
Exactly. Like, inmate is like a slur, like, nigga. Like, inmate, get over there and do inmate. Inmate, man, I'm a convict, man. Even though inmate is like
I don't know, man.
But a convict is like if you've been convicted.
No,
Convict, that's what I was saying. Everybody ain't been
No, you ain't. Everybody ain't been
But
convicted.
for the ones that has been convicted, that would, all right, we gonna speak in terms like if I was upstate or if I was in the federal jail after I left the current detention center. So you become a convict. You know
Well,
what I'm
also,
saying?
I feel like with that right there, with that word, why you having so much conviction about being a convict? That's not a
Because
positive thing.
no, it's not. It's definitely not. You're right.
So don't be
But
I'm a man. You're a man first and foremost.
But for,
you know what I mean?
you're right. But for in there, if I had to you choose a word other than inmate, I would rather be called convict.
I think inmate is like you just inmate. You just.
No, inmate is a slur.
You think so?
I know everybody in the world has just been locked up and tell you that. That's how the police address you. Inmate such and such report.
It's probably because you don't like the word because you heard it so
much. You ain't never been to jail. Quiet up, man.
I'm just saying you probably like the word though.
No, the inmate, whoever been to jail and keep hearing, inmate is like, yeah, inmate such and such as 1, 2, 3 come to the office. Oh, I'm not.
So they say convict 1, 2, 3.
I'm cool with that. Yeah.
That means you're
That
convicted.
mean I convicted. That's it. I'm cool with that.
No, but everybody ain't a convict.
All right, if I was convicted and you call me convict, I'm cool with that. Inmate is not a thing to say, man.
I'm not gonna argue with you all day about
Yeah,
this,
you
man.
can't argue with me all day. You've been out here eating chicken wings and fried rice and shit all your fucking life, so you can't tell me nothing about that convict or inmate thing.
But she disagreed with me. She said she don't think it's right to be called a
I
convict.
just don't want you to have so much passion about that
I'm
word.
so
It's not-
aggressive and like
Yeah,
when it come to that word.
It ain't positive. Speak life over you. Our tongues have power. You know
Right.
what I mean? So
Right.
we need to be more mindful of our tongues. We need to be more mindful of our thoughts.
Yeah.
Always, at all times.
My
Speak
bad,
life
so
over
yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, you right.
We speak life over us, and we shall receive more life. You feel me?
Yeah, positivity, man. Breeds success.
Look up that abundance frequency, y'all. Look it up.
Abundance frequency.
Yeah, abundance frequency.
Music of the gods.
So listen, want to thank you once again for coming on before I was rudely interrupted by Mr. Braheem Jackson. But we want to say that we really appreciate your time, and you'll be able to come up here again whenever you feel like it. The door is always open. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been tuned in to Tales from the Jails. We out.